Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Sustainability Forum for Emerging Practices, Part 1, Urban Agriculture. This is our New European Bauhaus satellite event as part of the New European Bauhaus Festival, organized by the European Commission. My name is Nilsu, and I'm the project assistant at Beinsitu Sustainability Institute. Today, I am joined by my colleagues, Aslı. She's an architect and the senior project director of Beinsitu, and Karin. She is our volunteer and also she's environmental advocate. So let me start by telling you a little bit about who we are. Beinsitu Sustainability Institute is a Brussels-based organization founded in 2023. Working at the intersection of sustainability, cultural heritage, community engagement, and urban issues. Our name reflects the idea of Beinsitu, being present in the field, in the place, and working with the communities and knowledge that are already there. So we approach sustainability holistically, from supporting craft traditions and cultural heritage to running educational workshops with children to documenting community-led projects and urban initiatives. This event is part of the Festival of the New European Bauhaus 2026, and it's the first edition of what we hope will be an ongoing series, the Sustainability Forum for Emerging Practices. And with this series, we want to create an open, accessible space for emerging practices and small initiatives to share their work, connect with one another, and gain visibility within wider NEP community. So today's edition focuses on urban agriculture and hands-on practices around it. Over the next 2 hours, we will hear from 4 inspiring speakers, each working in a different urban garden or community project. And after their presentations, we will move into an open Q&A session. And you participants, our participants, can join the discussion directly. Before we begin, just a quick note. So this session is being recorded for the documentation and visibility purposes in line with the New European Bauhaus Festival. So first, I want to give the floor to Aslı to add more about the event and this initiative. So Aslı, floor is yours.
Thank you, Nilsu. So there are some people who's waiting in the waiting room. Maybe you can introduce. Okay. Thank you for the introduction. Maybe I can add something. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, thank you for joining us today. Before I begin, please excuse my voice. I have been dealing with a sore throat, and so my voice is hoarse today, and I may call occasionally. Thank you for your understanding. As a project director of the Beinsitu Sustainability Institute, I am very pleased to welcome you to the first edition of Sustainability Forum for Emerging Practices. This event is a part of New European Bauhaus Festival this year, but is also something we hope will continue beyond today. Our aim is to create a space where emerging practices, practitioners, grassroots initiatives, and independent projects can meet, exchange experiences, learn from one another, and become more visible within a wider community. Our first issue is urban agriculture because it represents much more than food production. Urban gardens, community gardens, and urban farming initiatives help us rethink our relationship with nature, public space, local knowledge, and collective action. They create opportunities for learning, cooperation, resilience, and care within our cities. At a time when cities face multiple environmental and social challenges, their small-scale and hands-on practices offer valuable insights. They demonstrate how local action can contribute to more sustainable, inclusive, and resilient urban futures. Today, we are bringing together practitioners who have been actively working on the ground, experimenting with different approaches, and building communities around urban agriculture. Their experiences remind us that meaningful change often starts from local initiatives and collective efforts. I would like to thank all of our speakers for sharing their work with us and all of you for being here. And I would like to thank to my team, Nilsu and Karin. I hope today's forum will inspire new ideas, new collaborations, and future connections. I wish you an engaging and inspiring discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. So before I start with the presentations, first I would like to share my screen because we want to do this session more interactive with our participants. So our aim is to do mapping of the presentations. So you will see the Slido here. If you scan the QR code, you will able to add some keywords to the wall. So during the presentations, please join us and we will do mapping of the session. You can either scan the QR code or just join at slido.com and enter the code numbers here. I will also share the code in the chat so you will see them. And just a quick note, we had a speaker from Sweden, Hannah. Unfortunately, she's not able to join us today because she had a bike accident yesterday. So I hope she will join us in our future editions and you will meet her. So maybe with that, let's get started. So for the first speaker, Aslı. You are muted.
Maybe I can add something for Slido and every participant's audience. Please don't hesitate to become a part of the interactive forum. So, which keywords is appear during the presentations or questions, please write on the Slido. So we will see a common interactive forum results together at the end. And then I would like to present first speakers, Boğaçhan Dündaralp. He is an architect and founder of Dündaralp Office. His projects are nominated different prestigious awards. Today he will take us to the Kuzguncuk Bostan, Kuzguncuk Garden. We call garden as a bostan in Turkish. Today he will take us about Bostan and historical urban garden in Istanbul that residents have defended from development for over 35 years and successfully transformed into a community-run public space. Yes, Boğaçhan, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Hello from Istanbul, and I can share my screen. Yes. This is Kuzguncuk. Kuzguncuk is one of the Bosphorus villages in Istanbul, and small and protected historical place. And you can see the big green area. Today I can share with you the Kuzguncuk Bostan or garden place, this green area story. This is 1996 photographs. You can see two different levels and the green areas. And 2017, you can see this is the latest position, and also this part a bit forest characteristics, and also these parts for using for gardening and square area. And this is 2024, more green. And maybe I can share with you in the beginning of the small time chart. And Kuzguncuk, these borders, maybe I can share with you. This is the borders of the Kuzguncuks. I have two screens, so sometimes I can look at this part, and maybe when I show you something, maybe I turn this direction. The Kuzguncuks is in the near the Bosphorus, and also these borders surrounding with the green areas. The Bostan and the Kuzguncuk Bostan garden is the very big square meter inside heart of the Kuzguncuk settlement, and this is very important now because this is almost 700 years old, and this is last orchard or garden in the old Bosphorus villages. Before the Bosphorus villages serving the Ottoman naval all these requirements, and this is last example. The original name is İlyas Garden. İlyas is a Greek man, and when he died in 1980s, and this property transferred to Directorate of General Foundation in Turkey. And in 1983, the urban planning status is changed. The old status is historical green area, but 1983 changed the health and school area in urban plannings. After that, the Directorate of General Foundation attempt 3 times, 3 10 years periods to build a project, the school or hospital projects, and Kuzguncuk peoples resist all these attempts, and all of it is cancelled. Today, I'm sharing with you the last one because end of the last one. Today, since the 2010, we use this area with the similar position, and the story continue starting with this 1993. This is the first soil investigation truck entered the Kuzguncuk Bostan. All triggered the first action. All the Kuzguncuk peoples gathering together, and after this period is strong solidarity and good community communication and strong cultural background is cancelled the projects, and they established Kuzguncuk Residents Association after that. All these experiences moved to 2000, and 2000 is the second attempt. These attempts again not finalized. The Kuzguncuk peoples gathering together, but their action is a bit different, not just resisting or protest something. They festivals, they appear, some visibilities, they use many different medias, etc. And exhibition, all the generations is gathering together. And this is the 2000 actions and festivals. And 2010, and this is my story is beginning in here. The other ones is I'm a witness. And one of the Kuzguncuk Residents Association's friends, she's an architect, and when they visited the Bosphorus, the Department of Bosphorus Development Directorate, she saw these projects and also take a photograph, the telephone, and send me. And she called me and, Boğaçhan, we have to do something. The third attempt have to start because the General Directorate of Foundation started new projects in here for Sukul. And our first attempt to create this poster, and the poster, using the air view and also implicated to the 3D one, and the poster has been distributed throughout all neighborhood and also hang all on the local storefronts and starting to next action exactly. And also as an architect, everybody sharing the responsibilities as architects, our offices, to create the collaboration, to create what is the next steps for us. How can we collect the memories in here? How can we trigger again? How can we use this one? We appear to memories and we starting to work on this. On the other hand, we are working with some events for the different national and international activities and the local activities too. We gathering in here and some programs, some activities, festivals, meetings, protests, etc. is very good visible actions during the process. And those 3 years, end of the 3 years, the project cancelled. The Kuzguncuk's heroes finalized, won this negotiation. And we are thinking about what is our next steps. And we continue to events to gathering in here and some celebrations, sharings, plays, and also gardening too, because this area just not using for garden. The Ilyas time, the area using for all Kuzguncuk's people for gathering space. So their memories coming from to gathering space too. And today, the Bostan have 3 characteristics. One of them, the gardening area. The other one is square and gathering area. The third one is the forest characteristics. So we have to thinking this one. This is in this time, 2000s, we use effectively. The parallelization is continued to neighborhood communities and also gathering together communities be discussing. And we started to, how can we collaborate? And again, Kuzguncuk's people have to create their own projects for this. The project name is on the contrary, for explaining we need the rehabilitation, we need the protection. How can we use this area for the next attempts and the next session? So all these discussions, and we moderate all this process with Kuzguncuk's residents associations, and we gathering, and also the open air cinema activities, the harvest activities, cooking activities, theaters, open air theaters, and we have a news, and also using all these medias. Some graphic designers is create like that works for Bostan activities. We had some international connections between to continue to exchange some informations. So we use all materials, all medias. And we heard in 2014, the General Director of Foundations have issued a call for bids to lease this space. And we go there, and this is the day, the picture. And we learned the Üsküdar municipality rented this area. So we go municipality, we ask them, what is your aim? What is your thinking? What's your next steps? And they say that we use this area as a park and green area. We say that we have a park, we have a green areas, but this area is the characteristics, and they have a different backgrounds. We explain you, and we say that we have a project as a Kuzguncuk's people, and we put a project on their tables, and they are shocked a bit. Then a bit negotiate with the municipality. After that, they accepted the project. Let's continue to these projects, and also we collaborate with the Kuzguncuk Residents Association and the Üsküdar municipality, and we and some volunteer architects in Kuzguncuk's supporting this process, and we finalize these projects. After that, 2015, it's opened all these rehabilitation projects. And we continue to all these event activities since today, since 2015 to today. And nowadays, if you visit like that, open spaces and using freely, and also the children actively use the spaces, learning gardening, and sharing themselves place, and everybody learning themselves in the gardening and sharing process. And each time, not just using the gardening, but also using for everybody, each hours. And we can continue to celebrations, gatherings, and also some events, meetings, and also to special days in there. So this is good center point in Kuzguncuk and its characteristics in there. And our aim is in there, how can we continue to all these memory? Memory is protecting this area. How can we lively continue this interaction life with all these background is very important for us, for this part, for the next generations and shares. And 2000 today, the land status is not changed. Threat is continue, but we preserve these memories. If you have a time to visit the Kuzguncuk Postan, you can see all these poster and charts be showing this all these stories to mostly exactly to sharing our experiences. Yes, thank you for this in the beginning sessions.
Thank you. Thank you, Boğaçhan. You are very summarized. I know the process before.
Is it good timing? I don't know.
It was very clear. Thank you for your efforts and thank you for your sharing. So we can continue for the now next speakers. Mario Margani, a curator and culture worker based between Berlin and Enna. And co-founder of Garage Art Platforms. Mario will tell us about the Daphne Garden, a project born in 2025 that brought 7 local associations together to a small forest in an abandoned green space in Enna, Sicily. Mario, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Hi. Yeah, thanks. Hi, everybody. Thanks. I'm Mario. Yes, thanks for the presentation. Yes, Giardino di Daphne is a very young experience. It started in March 2025. And the very beginning of the motivation behind the start of our effort to start a garden, these 7 associations you said, was that the 2 years before, 2023, 2024, there was a big lack of water and rain everywhere in Sicily, and especially in the inner part of the island. And the garden is situated in the center of the island, near the Pergusa Lake and near the town of Enna, which is a small, like a small city, but still the bigger one in the inner part of the island. And I'll show you some pictures from the area. And so we start to have like a discussion with the municipality, because we asked to take care of one public green area. And at the beginning, there were different possibilities. But lake, this is the lake. I hope you see it and that everything works. This is the Pergusa Lake, and this is our natural reserve. Near to the lake, there is a spot which with a public like pool, but also an area which was abandoned, owned by the administration, but was not used since many years already. And so we decided to really start to take care of it. And after many discussions with the administration, we had the chance to start to work on it, and with a deal that we can take care of it at least for 3 years. And let's see what happens afterwards, because this is always connected to what administration is going to the what decision the administration take. We hope that we can make it longer than 3 years. And at the beginning, we started by planting some trees, because the so this is from what you can see is a bit less than 1 hectare, and nearby there is a public pool, and this is the gate at the entrance. One main issue, one main motivation also behind our action was to try to give everybody the chance to use the garden at every time, and not only when we are there. So like the public access was very important for us, 24-hour, 7 days a week. And so the first thing we have done actually as a group of associations was to take away the chain which was closing the gate, and so that we had no chance to close it. And so everybody can enter there at any time of the day or the night. And we only put some general rules for the people to respect and take care of the garden, also help us to take care of the garden, and especially take care of the young trees we started to plant, because we started by planting some trees in March 2025, and then some other trees in November, and again last March. And there are mostly trees which, if they survive the first years, then they don't need too much water. This was very important for us, because the idea is about having like creating, with the passing of the time, in an utopian way, creating a small forest, and also give space to the trees, and maybe also in the future have a garden for vegetables. But this is also a process which needs time, and also the collaboration of the local community. So I'm sorry about, I mean, what you can do here. You can read the book under a tree. You can play, sing, and dance open air. You can look at the sky and being on the earth. You can meditate and pray. You can listen to the sounds of nature, and there are a lot of birds, especially in the area which is connected to the natural reserve in the lake nearby. You can water the trees, and you can understand the importance of a common good and take care of it and respect it. And after the first days, we already found it's important also to say that there was already some trees in the area, like this one and many others. Not so many, but like some cypresses, some walnuts, which have been planted or even are wildly grow in the last decades. And we put more of these trees with the collaboration with the local institution, regional institution, taking care of the forests in Sicily. So we had the chance to get some very young trees from them, like different kind of oaks and carob trees, broom trees, and also some herbs that we planted in the place. And the nice thing about the garden is that we can share the space in a very open approach, and everybody can help and do something. So in the group of associations, we have different backgrounds. There are associations connected to contemporary art, associations connected to agroecology. One association is running a school for like a kindergarten. Another association, which is the one leading the group, is organizing a book and reading festival. and is also very connected to, anyway, books and readings in general during the year. Another association is has a background of religion and ecumenism, for example. Another one is connected to politics. So all these different backgrounds put together different people, also from different ages in life. So this is also the nice way to collaborate. And we also had, for example, during the festival, book festival and reading festival, different moments connected to readings, poetry, and connecting the poetry and the reading to the planting of trees, which it was also kind of a way to dedicate a poem or a composition to the tree, and in a way try to build up a relation, a warm relation between what we want to do and the words of a poem, for example. And also we already from the beginning, by taking care of the space of the green area, we found some very nice spots where it was kind of easy to really feel comfortable and feel at home, and, like under this very nice tree. And also the kids had different activities during the year dedicated for them, like about reading and drawing, and one more activity was listening, like project that was connected to poems for trees, which one artist was reading, and yes, during the dawn, and was summer last year. And thanks to this specific headphones, everybody was laying around the garden, and so this was also kind of an action for the people to invite them to use the space in different ways, also to just come there and stay on the floor, like read a book or listen or watch the sky, for example. And everything, all these actions that we have to say are not used so much to do in this town, Enna, because there are not so many green areas, and there is not so much the habit to use a green area in this way. We mostly have kind of small like gardens, which are like have a gate and close in the evening, and also in other moment are very often closed, also for walks. And most of the people actually move also many kilometers to go to a green area. So the idea to offer them a public space, having this approach, was for us very important. We also had, for example, a secret concert, which was connected to improvisation and singing and body sounds in the space. So there are different also local artists and local cultural activators who are proposing to do things in the garden. And actually the place in itself is always open for everybody. But still, people like try to connect with us, first of all, in order to have help and organizing something in the garden, in the Daphne garden. And all these actions are happening while we take care of the trees. So this is a picture from the artist taking the reading with the headphones. And this is, again, a picture of the lake. Sorry, the picture. Also, we had some concerts, like proper concerts with classical music, and this one was in October last year, and was connected to the 800th anniversary of St. Francis, if I remember well. And it was a very nice moment. But the last part of the like views we do during the year, because like it's a very open place and there are no shelters, no covered, no houses in the garden. So we mostly organize things from like events from March to October. And remember, it was already almost raining when this concert took place in October. But apart from this, it's nice to see that people, like local residents, use the place just to go there for a walk, say, playing with a guitar, or just take a rest under a tree. And also, one of the last actions that took place in the garden was in March. Sorry, was in March this year, and it was connected to the workshop with youngsters from the school that were led to watch properly all the herbs that are growing and trees, and small trees that are growing wildly around the garden, and were asked to do some activities and some drawings, which then helped the one artist called Alec to make a drawing. Also, for example, this was a very funny moment where the youngsters were asked to try to feel like a tree. And so sometimes some people just made the shape of a tree with with arms. Somebody else jumped on the shoulder of the others and tried to become high as a tree. Anyway, there were different moments of funny moments during the day, and it finished with the drawing on the only small house it is in the garden, which became a mural dedicated to the day that was happening with people, and especially youngsters watching at trying to reconnect with the wild herbs growing around. And this is like an artwork that is now staying on one wall of this small house in the garden. And this is one picture from like very recent picture from the garden, and which watches towards the village of Pergusa. And what I want to say that is, we come back with this nice picture. So do you see me? Yeah. For us, it's important to really give this public access to the people. And we hope that we can manage to have more connection to the local community, because also one local association is like of residents called Lakers. It's collaborating with us and in organizing and taking care of the green area. And so it is a very young project that needs a lot of help and a lot of energy. And we are very happy to take part in this presentation here, and also to listen to projects which have a lot of experience, and try to steal some ideas or some things we can propose in our space, because it is for us always important to see what is already happening around in the world, and try to bring some of these ideas here. And not everything is working, and there's a lot of effort in organizing this. But we hope that we can that the trees grow, that we manage to start this small forest at least, and then we see what happens after 3 years with administration, which is a question anyway. Thanks.
Thank you, Mario. It's a very short time, very huge works, and multi actors and NGOs in the field. It's a very interesting initiative and process. Thank you. Maybe Nilsu, you can share our mind map.
Do you see it now? We have lots of words. So the mostly participants and also us added next generations as a word, protection, green area, collaboration, interaction, forest, trees, but now it's growing, so we will add more for and following the next presentations. Yeah.
Thank you.
Boston and Take an Action, meetings, young project. That was the one I added when Mario said it's the young project.
Nice.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, Nilsu. We can, I think, continue with the third speakers, Mariana Pinto and Jose Fuentes, co-founders of Clack Clack. I hope I am right. Research and design initiative. Mariana and Jose are urban ethnographers and agroecology consultants. Since 2023, they have been documenting the impact of oil palm expansion and Quechua communities in Guatemala, northern lowlands, and how these communities are resisting the loss of their land and ways of the life. Mariana and Jose, over you. Yeah, you can start. Thank you for your coming.
Thank you so much. So yeah, hi everyone. We have been working on this topic for the last 3 years. It's a bit of a divergence from what we've heard so far, and you'll see why. But basically, we come from this specific area in the world in Guatemala, which is south of Mexico, next to Belize and close to Honduras, that has a long historical colonial history that has affected specifically and disproportionately the indigenous population, the more than 24 indigenous populations that live in the country. And we focus specifically our research on 3 areas, 3 sites where palm oil has affected disproportionately this indigenous communities. We ourselves do not identify as indigenous, and we, as the background for this talk, we do want to highlight that we come from a very urban background, but have worked with these indigenous populations for the last 10 years, trying to better get their voices across in the modernity and the modern landscape, and helping them represent their lifeways in the best way possible. So to get this rolling, I'll give a little bit of a context. So again, the Quechua, this specific area that we're going to see, they live in this specific zone. This is a highly contentious zone in Guatemala because it is one of the most biodiverse areas in the world. It is highly productive. It is called the Northern Lowlands because it's right next to a long chain of volcanoes and mountains that makes it incredibly fertile land that has been used for coffee production, banana production, and now for palm oil. And during this whole historical process, the Quechua population have been disproportionately affected by this. However, they have survived. And despite the continuous, at least 4 cycles of extraction from different enterprises, they have survived. And they have done so by keeping their own unique identity that's related to the landscape and to nature. And basically, it revolves around having an understanding that there is no such thing as a differentiation between a garden, landscape, a city. It's all part of the same ecosystem that requires a mutual understanding of what life is, and both as at a human level, but also at a more what trees are, what life is for trees, what life is for water, and how that replicates since time immemorial. This is a collective identity that's come from them for at least the register is around 80,000 years and is still pretty much alive through around 1.4 million people that live in the area. So this is basically how they've survived. Their understanding of the commons, of what they have. It's a mutual understanding of like working together, how the land is not owned by one person, it is owned by everyone. And they have grown from the many different conflicts, specifically the recent civil conflict that Guatemala had. They have grown into a very unified area and a unified population around those historic grievances, and around the idea that we should be more in line with the kind of collective ownership that they have. So many of these people have their own land, they own titles for the land, but they rarely use it as such. They mostly use it as a communal land, and that has allowed them to keep more or less in line in the same sort of circles and families. Around it was around 183,000 kilometers of very fertile land that has now become, again, highly contested for the reasons that will be presented by Mariana in a few minutes. So what has happened for the last 2 decades?
Yeah, fast forward, it's the 2000 and yeah, I would say new actors start to appear in the territory. Companies with the need of investing, and they're of course looking for very fertile land, which is the area that we have been exploring for monoculture activities, especially for palm oil production. This issue has been changing and fracturing and enclosing the comments that Jose was presenting. Here, it's a map that it's one of the researchers that we have using to understand better the phenomena to present where are these agrarian and environmental conflicts being registered in Guatemala, and where's the sites of palm oil, sugarcane mining activities happening. So we see that the area which in our Kikchi communities being located is highly being affected and contested because of the same reason. Like, two realities are encountering itself, and through privatization and yeah, we're seeing like how is the presence of these companies and the monoculture and the scale of the activities affecting the livelihoods of Kikchis. Well, we identified 3 main ideas around as Jose mentioned beforehand, there was no like private property or private property was not being enhanced as part of daily life. Now it's an issue of my resources, not yours, even though the activities of the palm oil companies are being placed in sites where natural resources are being encountered. So for now, we present as fences because it's one of the first things that people mention you whenever you talk about the impacts that they have on their lifeways. Is like, okay, so fences appeared out of nowhere, interrupting ancestral land, interrupting the access of resources, and people were highly dependent on that because it was not a place that was functioning around capitalist exchange. So private property imposed new geographically designed limits. Environmental damage, of course, because the activities that were part of the palm oil production requires a lot of water, it requires the use of fertilizants, and as a consequence, people are now experiencing in their own land soil degradation, new pests, and issues that they didn't have to deal with before. But also the social interaction in the territory have changed since now, as a way to survive, people need to look for labor options, usually having to require being or looking for opportunities within the palm oil companies. People are required to get into debt to maintain their own fields, but also supporting gender roles that were not there beforehand. Because now that the palm oil companies usually, for instance, hire men to work within this territory, women are now reproducing other dynamics, especially care, underpaid dynamics that were not in the map because women in the past were the ones that were maintaining agricultural activities that now they don't have access to. So also migration and people that are being outspoken about this issue are being criminalized, litigated, and it's not an easy thing to deal with.
So this is the part of the things we've seen here in this specific issue has been an rapid expansion of urbanization that has did not exist before. This is mainly due to lack of state presence in the area. So the company becomes the provider of who makes the roads? The company makes the roads. Who puts electricity in? The company makes electricity. So that gives a lot of leverage to the companies, to the agricultural companies, to ask things of the population. And people who do not agree, well, are criminalized and are chased. So part of the work that we do with them has been trying to understand, help them map out how they feel about this. What are the perceptions about this? People are usually the people who are interviewed and asked about this are the people who work in the palm oil industry, but not the people who live next to the palm oil industry. This is something similar to, I think, to the stories you guys were telling as well. The previous presenters were talking about how the people affected by the developments will usually be the neighbors, the people next to them, not necessarily people on the plot of land. And getting them involved in taking action has also led them to certain forms of resistance. Specifically, one of the most interesting forms of resistance that have been highlighted for them, but they told us, and it has been highlighted by other research, has been the use of more than human actors. The idea that the rivers are alive, that they deserve recognition as a legal entity that has a right to sue the companies is something that's been actively pursued in Guatemala, and it's one of the long legacies that the Mayan culture has had since the beginning of time. Since they started establishing themselves in the northern lowlands. Specifically for the company, this has been very interesting because this gives them an opportunity to sit the company down in the community assemblies and say, we are going to have the company here represented as a legal figure. And it's not a person, it has to be how the company acts. So they evaluate the company as to the kind of actions they do, how they're expanding themselves, what sort of actions they take against the community members, and they judge them not as an outsider, but also as a member of the community. This has helped them to ground a little more the reality of the very severe consequences that they've had for living next to this very extractive project. And it relates also to how they engage with us as selectively engage with us as researchers or NGO workers or the media, being very open about the kind of cruelty that they've suffered at the hands of the different palm oil companies. We've only studied 3 of them. In this particular cases, we're highlighting 3 of them, but this is something that happens generally across the world in all palm oil location sites. There's rapid acceleration of urbanization around these areas that leads to specific resistance, and part of one of the main things that we've noticed has been a tendency for now to having resistance in the form of documenting, getting social media videos up, getting a little bit more of an outsider perspective, getting people involved from across the world, and also keeping rotational leadership, keeping the people you can trust together, being that it's such a fragmented and very distrusting environment. This has led them to, for several marches around the Guatemala City, and also not only in Guatemala City, also abroad. They have gone to Rome and to the US, to New York, and trying to get their message across this specific issues. We work with them in this capacity, trying to do research that basically presents the sort of the narratives, the perspectives and narratives that the people, the neighboring peoples tell themselves and tell each other, and how that can be best presented as resistance actions. So we hear your stories, the people who have presented so far, and it's very inspiring because we've also find there's a lot of I say interaction and similarities, no? Between the kind of ideas that are presented here and the kind of sort of ideal kind of representations of space and culture and embodiment of nature that we would love to hear more about.
Yep. And of course, when the question comes like, what can be done? Because this is an ongoing thing. The palm oil companies are still buying more land, are still enclosing communities, but they, in the last round of questions that we presented to them was like, okay, what's working and what's not? Because they've been on this fight for some time, and they found, for example, that certifications that most of these companies hold are more something symbolic than something that affects them or beneficiates them directly. So it's a reminder that the neighbors are not being benefited directly, because there's a lot of ways that these certifications can go wrong locally. But also the principle of good corporate governance is not necessarily in haste locally, and it tends to be identified as superficial. But there are things that are working, or at least they have more hope on, that can systemically change how food is produced, and especially food that it's all over the world as palm oil, that they have identified. For instance, the EU level, it would be some corporate sustainability due diligence that is being pushed, but still in the talks. And also advocating for a UN Rights Council resolution for a legally binding instrument on businesses and human rights, which would have the ability to, I would say, impose a way to, or frame a way so companies should act, and they wouldn't be able to sell or trade or hire. It would affect everything in their own chain to benefit how our fruit is produced and where. So we wanted to end up like presenting a couple of options. People, of course, are still open for dialogue and looking for their own ways, but they have found that they need to scale it up, not maintaining it locally, not nationally, but as a whole system. And yeah, we wanted to present from the voices of the people that we have spoken with a small quote on this is how palm oil companies criminalized indigenous communities. They enslave us and they remove us, but we're born free. We're not slaves. We belong here. So a bit of a note to think about. And again, thank you for having us.
Thank you, Mariana and Jose. It's a very complicated, it shows your process and your research, and your Guatemala case shows us how the complex situations we have in the world, and it is not easy to fight this huge amount of scale, and but it's important to actions and how research can help to communities. It is important how, what you are doing also, and so monoculture and against the big companies against versus the local communities. So it is maybe summary of lots of things. So thank you for your sharing. And so we in every participants, or in every case in their locals, but it's important to see in a wider context. Thank you for your sharing the case. Now I would like to pass to our final speaker, Bediz Yılmaz. She's an urban farmer and sorry, I was reading. She's the urban farmer currently working at the historical Piyale Garden in Istanbul, one of the last surviving Bostans in a city once known as the City of Bostans. Bediz will speak about the garden's fight for survival. Yes, Bediz, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for inviting me here. And it's very nice to hear stories from different corners of the world. I will be the second speaker from Istanbul, but a different story, a different garden. Let me share my screen and be quick. Can you see?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So I will be speaking about the Piyale Garden, which is a historical bostan like Kuzguncuk. But I'll just show the from the map of Istanbul how where it is situated, because you can see how densely situated Istanbul is. And how it is placed in a very dense urban settlement, which has been a neighborhood after the 50s. It was densely populated and densely settled by mostly Black Sea migrants. But it continues to change. So on the photo right here on the right hand side of the screen, you see the older tissue. Inside you see the bostan, which is green because it is a mosque garden. This is the last remaining of a long tradition of mosque gardens, like church gardens, which was established in order to bring an income to the mosque, or to yes, for the income, and it was related with the mosque initially, but we have no other remaining examples of this. And the other green part is the cemetery. And the buildings on the right corner are the new residences, which are being built still during the last 3 to 5 years. And I'm afraid that the tissue, the neighborhood on the left side will continue to be demolished and transformed and rebuilt, as it is the case for Istanbul in general. So the garden is really the last small pocket of green in the urban setting. I will briefly talk about the main attacks to the garden, but we have to keep in mind that these are not isolated things. The garden, like all gardens, like Kuzguncuk or like other green areas in Istanbul or in Turkey, or maybe in other parts of the world too, they are under risk, many current risks. But two main episodes of attacks we can talk about. The one was in 2015, where the municipality wanted to build a parking lot on the garden. The garden is like 6,000 to 7,000 square meters. It's not a small piece of land. It is a traditional garden, traditional bostan, which means that it is tended by one family, who are earning their lives from there. So it is an income generating. So it is their how to say, where they are dependent for their living. It is not a community garden. This is a main difference from Kuzguncuk. But the thing is that people gathered around this risk or this threat to defend the garden, and they managed to obtain, thanks after an application of the Archaeologists Association of Istanbul, to obtain a paper or document for the conservation of the garden. The board recognized the garden as a cultural heritage, a living cultural heritage, which is the first of its examples, still the only one, because they stipulated that the garden is to be protected with the family, with the gardener family, which is responsible for the transmission of that historical knowledge of gardening, which is a specific one, in fact. I will show you more photos further, which shows that gardening in Istanbul has some traditions, has a specific knowledge, which is transmitted hundreds for maybe thousands of years now. And in 2022, the new municipality, which is now another party, the party of opposition, they wanted not to make a parking lot, but they wanted to make of the garden a hobby garden. Because they said that they wanted to keep the area as a green space, but they didn't want to have only one family tending the garden or benefiting from the garden. They wanted more than 20, 30 families benefiting from the garden. So they wanted to divide the garden into smaller parcels and distribute it to families, which will continue gardening there. Which can be a nice project if it was elsewhere, but this is a garden which survived 500 years. And it has its own historical value. It has its own, it is a heritage. And we, as a group of defenders of the garden, we were opposing this idea to this project, and we did a press release or a press, an event, a manifestation within the garden, saying that this is unacceptable for this garden, and we managed to keep the municipality at a distance. This project is not yet realized, but it is still a risk upon the garden. But these two events led a community built around the garden. This is, as I said, this is not a collective garden, but it is now, we can say that a community, an informal community, is built around the garden, trying to protect or support the garden in different ways. For example, we have a food community, the Beyoğlu Gıda Topluluğu, a food community who regularly buys food from the garden. We have another food community, again, having a relationship with the garden in different ways, not only buying food, but also coming and gardening from time to time. We have these bostans of the campuses who are university students who created their own bostans in their universities and who come, you see the photo in the middle, this is a day where we came together as members from different communities to collectively work in the garden. So we try to keep this heritage alive, but also do other actions like negotiating. We are still in the phase of negotiating with the municipality. We are still trying to write papers or documents for the historical value of the garden, the ecological value of the garden, to raise public awareness for that, to labor the land, to garden, to make, to farm, to garden, how to say, to do the gardening itself, to help the family and maintain a food community. Now, these photos, the two ones on the upper side are from the 80s, where you see the square forms, which are also existent in the photo below, which are current photos. This is a typical irrigation or gardening method in the historical gardens of Istanbul. And you see it is you see the big blocks at the back of the photo from the current day. But you also see that the gardeners are continuing to take the seeds, to continue irrigating, to continue producing. And this is a very powerful example of urban gardening, where the gardening is a transmittance of knowledge, of past knowledge to new generations. I heard the concept of next generations from the previous presentations, because the urban gardens have this role of bringing the past and the future generations together around the knowledge of farming, of gardening, of agriculture, which is a knowledge which is under the threat of being forgotten. But we also have new risks, not new, but current risks, which are continuing. The main one is the speculative, the land value. Because the garden's production, it cannot be in comparison to that value. The municipalities open new urban gardens. As I said, the hobby gardens, they like this a lot, but they don't recognize the historical ones as such. They don't recognize, they give no value, they don't support these gardens, but they like opening new hobby gardens elsewhere. Agriculture as a whole is no longer a respectable profession, and we have this false idea of abundance. All these risks are threatening the garden. Piyale Pasha is one of them, but all the urban gardens are under these threats. The black and white photo is an older one, and the two others are newer ones. You see, from one perspective, you can say that the garden is preserved as such. But from the other perspective, you see these big buildings squeezing this land and threatening this land. And maybe from the photo it is not very clear, but the gardener lady, Cemile Abla, is holding a lettuce in her hand. This is I find this photo, her action, very naive, because I calculated that there are some coffee shops in these residences on the background of the photo, and you have to produce 5 or 6 lettuces if you want to buy one coffee at these residences, which is this garden cannot survive on its own. It is impossible to continue producing lettuce and selling it and competing with such a rent or such a speculation of the land or residences. It has to be supported by the municipalities. It has to be supported by the communities, because we cannot eat the buildings. We cannot, we can drink coffee, of course, but it would not feed us in times of war, in times of disaster, in times of economic crisis, in times of pandemics, or what else? I wrote them all. Or in times of ecological crisis. We were dependent on the urban gardens in the past times, but we will be dependent on them in the future. I'm confident of that because I'm a bit prone to catastrophic thinking, but I'm pretty sure that we will be in a very dire need of urban gardens in the future. Having witnessed the earthquakes in Turkey, I'm really pretty sure that in times of an earthquake in Istanbul, this Piyale Pasha Garden will have a very important role to play. We have to keep this in mind, and we have to keep in mind some words from very valuable thinkers and writers and ecologists. I will try to finish by that. There are two spiritual dangers in not owning a farm. You can read two spiritual dangers in not gardening in a city. One is the danger of supposing that breakfast comes from the grocery, and the other that heat comes from the furnace. I think the people in the last century, with this false idea of abundance, they started to think that food is, they have no idea where food is produced. They have no idea where energy is coming from. And now they have to learn it. They have to learn it either way, but they have to learn it. And we have to break this this idea of civilization where mankind, humanity and nature, humanity and earth relationship is broken. We have to bring it back again. We have to maintain this relationship closely if we want to survive as a species. And this relationship will begin in the urban gardens, in the cities. I'm talking for the cities. Yes, that's what I wanted to tell, and thank you again for having listened.
Thank you, Bediz. It was so poetic end, and it was nice. You are the last speaker, but everybody remind these sentences. It was very important. Maybe I would like to repeat. We are in the during the ecological crisis era, so it is important to repair our relation with nature and with human. And also, it's very important. Food is how come the food and who produce it on energy and other stuff. So we don't know any relation. We don't see the how it's happened. We only consume something. So it is very important to see as a system or ecosystem. So. Thank you very much for you and for all of you. So I think we can maybe show Nilsu again, and then we can pass to the question and answer part or comments part.
Yeah, now this is the our mapping so far. So again, the now heritage appeared in the wall, and the green area, community, resistance is one of the words people used. Commons, also solidarity, interaction, negotiation. I think these are the general outcome of these presentations. So.
Of course, more than this.
Yeah.
But it's an interactive forum, so
Yeah.
your feedbacks. Thank you for who participate this mapping process. Thank you. Yeah, maybe we can start the questions part. You
The
can,
participants
can
can write in the chat or also raise their hand in Zoom and can speak. Either way, we can go.
or each guest also speak with each other and
Yeah, if you have any questions,
yeah.
because we have some questions, so we can.
Maybe I can ask immediately and people can prepare
Yeah.
themselves during my question. I think every presentations there can be private questions, but I would like to push to the common ground. So I would like to ask all the participant guest speakers, what is your future vision in your land and the urban context? So is it something, is it possible to find the common paths or it's impossible maybe? I don't know. How can we support each other also? This is the second question maybe. I would like to hear who everybody can reply or I don't know.
I think we could try to go first. In our case, I think it's still to be determined. It's still very much open to debate. Like, what's the future vision for our land and the urban context? There's a lot of processes in Guatemala specifically of urbanization that's still ongoing. There's still a lot of land to be urbanized. But there's also the other part of it. There's the ruralization of areas becoming urban areas becoming a little bit more rural, finding a little bit more of a ground to coming back to those same principles that Bediz was talking about before. About we have to return to understanding where food comes from, and specifically, this was much more latent in our side of the world during the pandemic and during the different issues with supply chain issues. It became very evident that there's things missing in the supermarkets. Why is this? Well, why do we have an overabundance of certain products but a lack of others? And it became like a waking moment for most of the people back home to be like, where does everything come from then if it's not here yet? So I think that it's a very interesting point to start drawing on.
Yeah, and maybe like how can we support each other? We resonate a lot with exchanging local experiences, although every context is very different. I think the ways that we've found in these studies and in others is like the importance of reaching out, asking questions, understanding more about specific cases, and do not be afraid to ask with other people that are with similar interests, because most of the time they're gonna be willing to share. Because I am very impressed with this panel. Like, each of the people that participate and joined are probably very passionate about what they're talking about, and we're very happy and open to also share and collaborate and ask, but it requires us to start probably like accepting I don't know everything and what has worked in the past for others.
Thank you. Bediz or Boğaçhan or
Maybe I can add some points. The future vision, if we are talking about the Kuzguncuk context, we have different urban transformation now beyond the Bostan and garden. Everywhere has a consume with touristic places, so all these local shops is closed and open new cafes. So all these urban transformation affected to other spaces. So Bostan after the Bostan process, the garden process, it defined itself with the municipalities, other authorities for more touristic place too. This is another problem. Before we using this area for more local peoples, for neighborhood, for protecting as a void, as a green void. This is another case for us because the gardening in the Bediz is totally focused into real farmers, and we lost these farmers. Our farmers, we protecting the void, a total different context in here for us. So how can we continue to not just the human-based view, the nature-based view is very important today. So the public awareness, the commons, all these keywords, maybe if we discussing with the human-based view, generally we resist and also we create a different ways. But the human-based views, nature-based views, total different approaches. The ecology-based view. So maybe as a humans, we need to do the nature-based view. We left to nature something. So maybe my future vision is all these urbanization process is exactly dividing these two process. So as a local approaches, the contextual approaches to, we need to change the survival mode. This is the big issue for us. So how can we change the survival mode? And generally we discussing today in our neighbors.
Thank you, Boğaçhan. It's interesting to change the survival mode. Maybe you can explain later. I would like to hear. It's interesting.
May I continue?
Yeah, please.
What else? I'm an urban sociologist, and urban sociology books, I mean the previous ones, the older generation ones, begins with the definition of the city as saying that a city is where there is no agriculture. That's why agriculture is seen as something which is not fit to the cities. But I think what brings us together here in all other practices, in our all practices, that we want to see some agriculture in the city, but also some nature in the city. Nature which is not disciplined. Nature which is somehow a wild nature, or not like one in the parks, but we like a drop of forest or like a drop of lake, as Marios told. I mean, in our garden, which is in a really very dense, where there are roads and buildings and everything, we have many different birds. We have many different little insects in the garden. I mean, they need, as we need this garden, they also need the garden. So what I think in the future is that cities have more gardens like this for food production, but also for this connection with the nature, which is not a city perspective nature, which is a nature. I don't know how to say it, but I think you understand, which is a really untended, left as such part of nature, because animals and other, I mean, not humans also, but all others which are not humans, they need that more than us, birds and everything, and also plants, different plants.
Yeah, it's very important point, I think, not only for humans but for all the other creatures, you know. It's very important point. We have to change our perspective, you know, human-centering perspective to the, you know, more wider maybe. But it's important. So it's a very important point to the city is where there is no agriculture. Is and maybe nature. It's maybe the problem is city, in itself.
That's for sure.
It's interesting point. Mario, would you like to add?
Yes. About, one of the main issues in our area is depopulation. So people, since many decades now, are slowly or fastly leaving, going somewhere else to work or to live somewhere else in the island towards the bigger cities on the coastline or in the continent, Europe or somewhere else. So this this creates a lot of abandoned areas on the countryside, on the also like areas which used to be connected to agriculture and food production, and also in the same way you can find a lot of abandoned buildings in the cities. And so I think this is one issue that we try to connect with by giving space for bringing life to a place which is abandoned. And also, yes, as it has said already, somebody else said it is very important for us to try to connect also to the food production, because Sicily is there is a lot of food production which is organic and connected to like traditional agriculture, but also there is a lot of industrial agriculture, let's say, using a lot of pesticides and other ways of producing a lot, like maximizing the production, but producing bad food, let's say, make it easy. And so we also will try to organize a market, like a local organic market with local producers, and which would be one connection to some people who are still or are starting again to produce locally organic food, and in trying to start a new connection, which has also which can also be important for remaining in the place, remaining in this area, and start a small economy for yourself. So we also see the garden as a place for trying to bring together different projects and try to bring it to give space to it, also connecting to especially to organic food and to nature. And yes, also it is very important that the garden is not only for humans, it's for everybody. And actually humans are now allowed to enter the garden, but without taking too much space, on doing the right things, let's say.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mario. So there are some it's we have to think as a food system also behind of the city's organic, traditional, industrial, which you say also the problem about the pessimists. If I am maybe I am wrong. I couldn't spell it well. Abandoned places also another point. Is nice to bring life to them, so it's another point, so it's important. So there are lots of connections between different things, so the urban gardens can be bring some people and projects and organic foods and nature. So it's create a common ground to open ground also for everybody, every creatures. Yeah. Do you have any questions for to our guest speakers, or would you like to add any comments? I'm asking for our audience also, or our Karin and Nilsu, you can add something.
I guess I would just love to know from your perspective, urban gardens are everywhere. Obviously, we've highlighted some really wonderful examples, but do you guys have any, I guess, language that we could use when talking with our community, maybe our municipality leaders to kind of help facilitate and support urban gardens or urban farms in our areas?
Who would you like to start? Maybe you can explain a little bit, Karin, or Boğaçhan. I don't know.
Maybe Karin explain, but I showed the I maybe mentioned that Kuzguncuk's garden phase in 2000 before 2010. One landscape firm rented this area, and the landscape firm used all these farming soil, and all this soil is gone. So when we rehabilitating to this area for farming, we bring back to carry all this soil again. And we need some geometrical structures for this. Unfortunately, most of people thinking as a hobby garden, but we use this one for not just a hobby garden. We have to need carrying again the new available farming soil. But when we use them, this use area, we don't have a gardener too. The Kuzguncuk's people sharing all these plots periodically for lottery, and also municipality, and the municipality supporting this one, all this organization, and people's if you want to need the gardening, most of elderly gardener people, and also to young generation, working together for the Kuzguncuk Residents Association and the municipality organize all these things to meet the gardeners and new learners, or the new neighbors, all ages working together to sharing this one. This is different point. I don't exactly defining for this to hobby garden or like that things, or this is in between zone for us. It looks like a hobby garden. Unfortunately, the municipality, the modeling this one, and also changed the different characteristic spaces. This is another threat for us, because they looked at Bostan, our Kuzguncuk Bostan. They said that this is good. All modeling is copying the different places, and many of places change the characteristics. I think that the similar problem for the Piyale Pasha too, for municipality. We lost many spaces like that. And another thing is, I mentioned that the Bosphorus villages and many of Bostans, all these villages has. And now, and biggest one in Çengelköy is now using for car park and managed with the special firms. So this is like that things is continue, and open areas and openings is not built, is not so create a solution for us. Maybe be highlighting what is common for us, and how can we create communication each other, and how can we create the actions with together for our commons. So this is all these things is contextually redefined. If you are looking at a picture, every places look like each other. We need a contextually discussion, contextually define all this common meaning.
Thank you. wants to give a response? Or
maybe, yeah, we will could add something around that. In our experience, many times it's around proposing a new perspective on what it's this place, no? What it's the use of the place, what is its value? Is it going to be a commercial value? Is it going to be a social value? And entering a dialogue, ideally with someone in a municipality that has a vision around more than a commercial value. You'll find a lot of space to discuss, like, do we need to even intervene this area? If what does it mean to be abandoned, for instance? Because if you're looking at throughout an environmental perspective, for instance, it could be the perfect place for more than human actors to thrive. But if we're only looking at to the need of grabbing and occupying the space and defining what it's it for, this is, I think, the issue on why are we in this situation and not enjoying common spaces without having them to be assigned initially or organically. So again, I think the examples that we have heard about today on getting involvement of society to challenge and not only expect for the municipality to rear our minds on what do we want for our territories to become. It's going to be crucial. Of course, it's going to take resources, time, knowledge, because unfortunately, in many cases, the power dynamics are not in our favor, since sometimes we believe that we need certain education or certain background. But again, we live in spaces that are organized under a specific system that made us require a municipality. So we have to make the use of these spaces, I would say. So yeah, challenge whatever we feel like it's not working, not only for us, even though as human, it's better to have concrete and parks or whatever modernity needs us or points at us, but to challenge, okay, why it's happening and how. So, but again, knocking those doors because they will know that we feel this way, we're not present in any way.
One other thing that I would maybe add, it's very interesting to have getting the community involved as much as possible. This is something that I found is common in all the projects. Getting people involved in even redefining spaces that have been historically have a significance or that are commercially driven towards a direction, getting people involved in what they would want that space to be, is something that the municipalities cannot say no to. They shouldn't say no to. It should be difficult for them to say no to. So even building capacities within the communities to better highlight their needs and what they think the spaces should be with participatory methods and having them get involved in different workshops they have to answer to someone at the end of the day, and those are the citizens, no? And if you empower those citizens a little bit better, we have found so far in the projects that we've done that they do tend to at least look invest energy and try to look away more, or to try to actually address the issue. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I would like as well to add an example, because here in Antwerp, I'm from Belgium, we have had an interesting case. It's in a very nice street in the city center with a big history. There was a common garden and a world artist community, and then the city said, okay, this is very valuable property, we are going to sell it, and it will be more than 2 million the amount of money. So a lot of commercial players would bid, but they said, okay, we cannot agree to that because it's such an important community place for the whole neighborhood. It has a history of bringing artists together. So they raised a lot of awareness on that in the press and so on. And very famous artists started to contribute paintings and start to sell off it. They really arranged the community, and all people could become a participant, could contribute to it, could buy shares. And they managed, actually, this week we got the news that they actually the house will stay in the hands of the artists, but they managed to raise more than 2 million. Of course, it's different because there are buildings involved, so they have more money and they can put some uses to the place. But it shows the power of a community who says, we cannot do it. We have to keep a lively city, but lively neighborhoods with nature inside the city, because this place are becoming so rare under pressure. So it's a nice case, I think, because you see that nobody had expected that such a huge amount of money could be raised, and you see if you really can appeal to the people in the community and what such very magic places can mean to them by all what you're doing, having concerts, having readings, having children activities, having the artists, the people from different levels, companies included. You really can build a momentum around that. But I think, it's, as you say, I think as well, in the case of the garden of the historical garden in Istanbul, you don't have to be naive, as you showed with the women with the lettuce. You have to be very proactive, arranging that, because you have to have a huge community in order to be able there, and have to be prepared to do some action when the occasion should arise, that you really have to defend it. And when you enter maybe in competition with commercial players, because it's very valuable ground in big cities. These kind of communal parks in Istanbul. And just to make sure that you don't become a parking lot with some hobby gardens.
Yeah.
Thank you for your comment.
I can want to say something. I mean, I agree a lot with what Mariana and Jose were saying, and about our experience with administration. Going back to the question, is was kind of funny, because at the beginning administration was thinking we wanted to take care of a roundabout, something like this. They were giving roundabouts to companies to take care of it, and then the companies put their own sign on it and saying, we take care of this and that. So in this like connection to commercial world and public relation world, and when we asked for something bigger, which also had to do with giving public access to a place which actually is owned by the municipality, but no, it was kind of forgotten, then they were open for it. So, I mean, this one's always like this, but sometimes it takes, it's important to ask for something more, like use the tool that they are giving, which is, okay, we are giving, they don't have enough money to take care of the green areas they have, all of them, so they are giving it to companies. And we are saying, okay, we are not a company, we are 6, 7 associations, we want to take care of something from the city, a green area, but we also want to activate it. And at the end, at the beginning, they were a bit suspicious, let's say, maybe, or not so, there was not so clear for them what it was about. But at the end of the day, they were happy. They were coming to the activities. Some of the people working in the council, they were helping with electricity and other stuff. We still need more, but the point is, sometimes is important to use the tool that they are giving and then go over it and ask for more, or like propose something different, but which is connected to what they need at the end of the day.
I would like to answer the question of Oğuz Orhun by also answering the previous ones. We are not a very big community. We never had a very big community, but even small, the community had a very big pressure on the municipality because we have some tools, like the press, for example, or like the neighborhood. When the neighborhood supports the garden, this becomes very important. because no municipality would like to see their names like that on the newspapers or in the internet media. So each press release is important. So we are trying, but still we are not a very big community. We are never a big community. That's like this. We are like trying to swim against the stream. I think we all here are this kind of people. We are not part of the mainstream thinking, but still we have a community. And how do we attract attention of a community participation? For example, and this is also valid when negotiating with the municipality, you don't have to make big investments. I mean, the municipality doesn't need to make big investments in terms of ecology or in terms of, I don't know, food production or waste management. They like to make big projects for this, but you don't need it. As Boğaçhan said, I mean, you can bring elderly and children together in a very simple activity of planting some trees or watering trees. This is a very simple action. In a very simple garden, you can have very big activities. And the university students now are gathering our community because they are fed up with having with the obligation of spending money in their campuses. They don't want to pay hundreds of liras to a coffee. So they said that they told us that they created their own third space where they can have their own teas and coffees. And now, like that, they say no, a big no to the coffee chain coffee shops which are in the campuses. And this is very important. This is like playing the game, stepping outside the board. They really created a new space. They didn't accept the spaces that is offered by the campus or the university rector or the municipality. They created something else. For municipalities also, I think, to answer Karin, I think it is important to tell them that something else is possible, something else which is other than which is told us by the textbook capitalism, that I mean the land goes to the highest bidder. No, the land goes to the community if the community defends it, if the community tells that they need it as that kind of a land. That's what I'm thinking. The municipality doesn't need to make big investments. Sometimes you just leave it as such and people gather there. We have to show it to the municipalities like this, I think.
I totally agree. We are very close to our time, but I think there are other questions I couldn't check. And comments also coming. Thank you. Maybe Sarah, you can mention about it instead of writing, it would be nice to hear. Maybe some of them couldn't read the chat. So yeah, there are other oppositions to Starbucks in I understood in Belgium, and also the university, Antwerp University also support this kind of movement in different way. It's important, of course. The research can be sometimes used by the capitalist and the mainstream part, but if it's the research can use for the for the locals, so it's we need this kind of research and the support from academia, outside of the academia also. I had a question, but I don't want we don't have a place to talk, but I would like to hear maybe it's couple, because we would like to give the words for the guest speakers, the last words. But I would like to ask before your last words, maybe you can add small couple words or sentences for me. How you motivate yourself and also the community around of the garden. I think one of this why you are working in this field. So I would like to hear your private personal motivation, but also how you motivate the people. It's difficult part also, the motivate people or the community in itself, you know. Thank you. And we would like to hear your last words, you know, your maybe comments or your thoughts. Would you like to add something at the end of the forum?
Mine is very short, maybe I can say that. Because I'm living in Kuzguncuk too. This is my living space, and I have two children. One of them is 10 years old girl, the other one is 19 years old boy. They born in here. We have a family memories. We have a neighborhood memories in there. So we're protecting our living area. It's just simple, this one, according to me.
Thank you. It's so nice to hear. Also, would you like to add last words at the end of the forum? Would you like to, or not obligatory, not necessary?
Yes, but I think that maybe this is maybe next session. We are talking about what's our tools for this. How can we use our tools, and how can we take actions, not just motivated, but also how to create a sustainable works, how to create what is our tools, which is work, which is not work. Maybe we can share with each other this one, maybe this inspiring, and maybe we can use different things, because we find our tools during the process. Maybe examples is increased, and also we can share each other. Maybe we can find new ways to change something. Thank you for everybody. It's very nice and inspiring day today for me.
Thank you. Who would okay, Bediz.
Okay, so if no one's speaking. Okay, my main motivation when I started all these was to learn how to survive individually and as a community, because the knowledge of agriculture, knowledge of food production is a very basic and essential knowledge, a very basic know-how. If you don't know that, you cannot survive. This is as simple as that. And I wanted to learn it, and I still continue learning it. It is something that you cannot learn in a very short time. And that's my main motivation. To start from scratch, to create. Not to create, but to produce. My main motivation is to produce and to share this knowledge with other people. And my last words will be that I think I'm getting prepared to a future where we'll be needing this knowledge more than today. And I wanted to get prepared to that future. Not myself only, but as a family, as a community, as a neighborhood, as a citizen, to get prepared. And with the connection with the past too, because if we don't act today, we will forget many things. I feel that we are acting as bridges from the past to a future which has to come. Which will come someday.
Thank you, Bediz.
Yeah. So about my motivation was like a double motivation. One was kind of egoistic, which was that I always, like I think many people, feel better and good when I'm working, like touching the soil, working with the herb, and planting trees, planting vegetables, and working, taking care of them. It can be very tiring if you do a lot, but it's also like something, a very good experience every time. I mean, at the end of the day, I feel better. So this is the egoistic part of it. And the other motivation was my motivation, and as well as many the others who made the garden, was that we really wanted to start a kind of utopic action to try to envision a small forest, because after that, those years of very big lack of water, and the lake beside the garden was dry, and we were not getting water in the apartments, like once each 6-7 days. Everybody started to like see water and humidity in a different way. So how important is humidity in humid areas, and everything that can be done in retaining water in the soil and spare water and using water in the proper way was like some important because of that moment that we were living. And I think so also as a last word, yes, it is still for me important to think about gardening as we connected to water, and without like resources, other resources, without using only the part that is important, that we need, not abuse of water resources or natural resources in general. So the garden, I think, as well as agriculture, needs to deal with this problem in a creative way, in the right way, which is don't abuse all the resources that we have. We actually have to try to even help the resources to be more and more, not to abuse of them. This is important as an approach to gardening, which I think is needed today, and agriculture in general.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mario.
For like, I was really thinking hard about this. My motivation behind getting involved in this issue, specifically palm oil, was we did research on this topic, us knowing nothing about the topic, and we found that the company, the NGO that hired us, told us it's in everything, and we think no, it can't be in everything. There's no way that palm oil is in absolutely every single thing that we use. And I challenge you, this is my plug for you guys. Go out and look at the different packaging things that you have, cookies, soap. It's in everything. And that was my turning point, to be like, I have to keep researching this thing, because if it's so predominant and affecting so much of the livelihood of the people where I come from, I should know a little bit more about this, no? And this has been the main driving force behind this, and then meeting people there and finding that they very simply told me the answer that I was looking for, which is just, you do know that this is part of the same earth, no? You do understand that this whole system, the whole gardening, the whole agricultural system, the whole city that you live in, the whole, for us, it's one of the same thing. We're talking about the same livelihood. It's one planet, so it doesn't really make sense to be dividing it up into so many different fractions. And that really changed my mindset around, like, we should be focusing more on that, around this, even more than human. It's more like having a more holistic understanding of, like, this is a life or death situation for the whole ecosystem of the planet. It's not just one thing, it's everyone. So it's very inspiring to hear people, again, having this kind of issues, and then how they challenge those issues around the world. And it's very interesting for us, at least for me, to hear it.
No, yeah, and also, as everybody mentioned, like the relevance of documenting, not assuming that everyone knows it, and how one of the things that we find and keep being frustrated, and that's one of the reasons that we keep doing research and making an extra effort to getting those research to different places that are not necessarily the academic traditional settings, is because now we're challenged by a lot of things are taking our attention away. So what can we do about it, and how can we present these issues that are very interesting, and also share this information that it takes a long time to be produced, but also understood and also remembered. So the relevance of documenting is one of, I think, the driving forces that keeps us working every day. No, I'm very inspired to be here. Thank you so much for everyone for your presentations.
Yes, thank you for all. It was so nice. It was first for us, but I am happy. It was so fruitful and to listen. Maybe we will keep continue to discussion. We are planning to share is a small report in our webpage, and you can share all of you. Maybe we can come together physically in the future. I don't know. We can collaborate somehow, but keep in touch. We can send your communication also. You can connect each other. Thank you very much for everybody.
Thanks a lot for bringing us together.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
time.
Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Good, everyone. See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Ciao. Thanks.